Hi, I'm Josh White. I'm a Vice President in Analysis Group. So my intervention in today's conference was really on pharmaceutical mergers, in particular some of the interesting economics that go into the assessment of these mergers, some evolving theories of harm that authorities around the globe are starting to look at, and some specific considerations that are really important when thinking about pharmaceutical mergers on a global scale. So I think from a high level, one of the most important things to remember about pharmaceutical mergers is this is not a homogeneous market. There's a lot of different players adopting very, very different commercialization and research and development strategies throughout the industry. You have large diversified firms that are active in all stages from research and development through commercialization across a wide portfolio of products. You also have smaller players, who are pure players that are focused only on one therapeutic area. And you also have a lot of different, sort of adjacent firms that are merging with each other and divesting each other, and that can be in areas like contract manufacturing, contract development, and contract research. The really key important thing here is that there are certain characteristics of these markets that are sort of unlike a number of other markets that we look at as economists. So one is, frankly, that market definition is extremely difficult. You have a sort of disconnect between, the payers and the prescribers. And so, sort of traditional tools that we think of as economists, hypothetical monopolist tests, don't necessarily work because the sort of prescribing decisions are a bit divorced from the sort of movement in price. The second aspect here is that ultimately these are regulated markets with big sophisticated purchasers of medicines. In Europe in particular, it's generally governments who are purchasing these medicines that have substantial buyer power in terms of negotiation within specific therapeutic areas as well as across portfolios of drugs. And I think the third and most important thing here is that this is a really dynamic industry. So we see consolidation in the industry, but at the same time, we're also seeing a lot of divestments, and we're seeing players change their approach to, how they are competing in the market, with certain players, old generics companies buying brands, other, big brand diversified players divesting themselves, such that it's really, really difficult to think about sort of static, levels of consolidation, etc. On the sort of theories of harm, obviously it's sort of the standard theories of harm that we consider, and really one of the key takeaways that I think is really, really important here is we need to be really careful about the level of intervention by authorities, especially when we think about R&D related theories of harm. In particular, just because it's so expensive, takes over $1 billion, more than 10 years to develop new products, and a huge percentage of products never actually make it to the market. And so it's really important that authorities think through the implications on sort of the chilling effect of investment that may arise, due to over enforcement.